And thank you for assisting me along this journey. Good morning, everyone, and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Everybody feeling?
Good.
As good as you can in Melbourne.
It's a lovely day.
I'm not in Melbourne. I'm lucky.
It's a lovely day.
Well, that's great. I haven't got the list of everybody attending this morning, but thank you anyway. I've met most of you, and I think you all know that I've been a reflexologist and a massage therapist for quite a number of years at Vital Chi. And in the 20 years that I've been working in this field, I've seen many feet, all shapes and sizes. And reflexology, working with feet, has always been it's been my first passion. And most of the time, however, I relied on the reflex points that we train when we do reflexology to actually depict emotions and physical and emotional imbalances. But this is going to take me to another horizon, another level of looking at feet. So if you're a little bit nervous about showing your feet, think of me. I've just been through 16 hours of training, and I was so ambitious, thinking, oh my goodness, I'm going to present all this material in 1 hour. Well, no way. So we'll go as far as we can with this journey. And if Jack's agreeable, we might do a little bit more Zoom in the future. So let's start. Let's start on this exciting journey. And thank you for those people that sent me in photos of your feet. Now, of course, it's really more exciting to work face-to-face in a group. You can see much more. Photos can be a little bit deceptive, but we'll do the best that I can. And also, just nod your head or just say, you know, let me know if you prefer to remain anonymous. If you're happy for me to mention your name as I'm going through examples, then I will do so. But if you wish to remain anonymous, just let me know now. Any problems with naming names of feet? No? No? Okay. Nothing bad about it anyway. Okay, so how often do you look at your feet? Do you take notice of them, or do you just slip them into shoes and forget about them until they start hurting? Do your feet feel happy? Jack, I'm not sure. Are people seeing the pictures?
Let me put this present. You have to give me a few verbal cues, I think, Mafalda. There we go. How's that?
That's good. That's better. So I know where we are now. All right. So do your feet feel happy, smooth, and soft? And if we could, yeah, beautiful. I don't think I've ever seen feet like that, but they look happy and they look perfect and they're in harmony. It's mainly babies' feet that I see so beautiful and smooth. Or are you the opposite of that scale? Are your feet feeling tired, worn out, fat? Now, believe me, I haven't seen feet like that, but I have seen feet that are red and looking very angry, and the skin is very dry. So that's a pair of feet that need a lot of nurturing. So if we go to the next page, your feet say a lot about you physically and emotionally. And the state of your feet actually reflect the state of your life. You walk the way you feel. So how do you walk when you're sad? Linda?
You're very heavy and, yes, just over your feet, yeah.
Sluggish. And what about when you're happy and confident? How do you walk then?
You're brisk and upright and tall, and the world is yours.
Yes, and you're smiling. What about when you have pain in your feet?
It's still me.
Well, whoever would like. I can't see all the faces, so maybe put up your hand and we can see your. Jack might be able to show another face. Anne, we've got two Annes. Hi, Anne.
Hi.
When we have pain in our feet?
So which Anne? Sorry.
Who have I got here? Anne Hockey or Anne Price? Sorry.
So hand H. So you got pain in your feet? I don't have that very often, but you would probably hobble, or yeah, you wouldn't be walking as confident.
Yeah, you'd probably limp along. So already we have taken notice that whatever you feel in your feet actually influence the way we walk. Now, moreover, pain is a signal that something is not right. That corn you have on a toe, the callus on the ball of your feet, a bent toe or a bunion, these are all irritations that have a story to tell. While we can't pinpoint the exact date of when foot reading commenced, we think that the art started about 5,000 years ago, mainly in China and India. And the logic behind that is that the soul lies in our feet, and therefore we're able to glean information on health and a person's character. In ancient Persia, they used to read feet to tell the future. It was called divination. And in India, I think it was called soulstry. But I must say, before I go any further, I'm not here to tell your future. This is not about, telling you you're going to win Tats Lotto tomorrow. Feet reading is really about helping you understand what you're going through at this very present time. Now, you may ask me, how do reflexologists all over the world come to these conclusions or their findings? And basically, taking the knowledge of what we know in reflexology, working on the reflex points on the feet that actually reflect parts of the body, and anyone who's had reflexology with me, you'll know that I talk about different parts of the body being mapped out on the feet. So reflexologists, by exploring, experimenting and observing and writing their findings, nearly all of them have come to the same conclusion. Sometimes there might be a bit of discrepancy between one person's interpretation and another, but that's because we are complex beings, and feet are very complex indeed. And reading feet is not really a 5-minute job. It takes quite a while to do that. I could spend an hour on each one of you. So back to feet reading, and how do I do it? I interweave the knowledge that I have in my reflexology and juxtaposing the chakra system over the feet. Has everybody heard about the chakras? Anyone who's had Reiki before will know that you hear about the energy centers in the body. Just very briefly, the chakras, the word chakra comes from the Sanskrit word meaning wheel of spinning energy. They're not only placed on the body, where we traditionally know them as when we do Reiki, they can be placed on the feet, and I'll show you a chart in a moment. These chakras, and you can think of them as invisible rechargeable batteries that regulate the flow of energy through the body, they actually connect soul, mind to the body. And if one energy center is out of balance, that will have a ripple effect on the rest of the chakras and gradually put everything, or gradually put other centers out of balance. Sometimes when these chakras become blocked, and that's mainly because of stress or emotional or physical problems. And if the energy doesn't flow freely, then this will create problems. And they can manifest themselves as physical, mental, emotional, and even spiritual. So, Jack, if we could have the next page, page 4. Now, as you can see, I'm no Picasso, and I tried to colour them in the exact colours that we normally see the chakra system depicted by, but the colours are not true colours. So I'll just go through them. Have a look at the heel. The heel is red, or it's an earthy brown. This is your root chakra as we know it in Reiki, and it's to do with the ground floor, or the foundations of your life or your house. So it's the energy center closest to the earth. And that's why we say that when we're not grounded, our feet feel as if they're not actually stable on the ground. So the heel is connected to also to your survival needs. Perhaps somebody could explain to me what survival needs might be in life. Marion, are you there somewhere in the group?
I suppose
Yeah, go on.
nutrition, shelter. Then as you get on, love.
Yes, we're going to another level now.
Yeah.
But that's great. So your physical survival essentials are basically security. That could be security as in having a job, a stable job, having a financial backup. It could be stability. Again, we could refer to stability of a job, but also stability in the family, in your life. And of course, basic needs. We all need shelter. We all need food. We all need warmth. We all need clothes. So they're all your survival needs. And the heel, although you can't see it there, it's connected to the legs, the feet, the large intestine. It's your flight or fight response. So if you can't lift your heels off the ground, you don't go very far at all. And also most charts, I'm not sure why, most reflexology charts don't actually put the male reproductive organs there, but that's where we normally find them. Now, the interesting thing is that this area is governed by two opposing forces, Mars and Saturn. And Mars is the planet of independence, of energy, of anger, war, and destruction. Doesn't mean destruction as somebody coming to demolish your house, but it might mean a destabilization of what you have in life. But Saturn, although it approves change, is more responsible. It likes organized structure, responsibility, endurance, and strength. So if you're not grounded, you're going to go the Mars way, but if you're grounded, Saturn will be on your side. Now, some emotional imbalances that may occur in that area are obviously surrounded around insecurity, anxiety, depression, fear and worry, and defensiveness. Health-wise, It's to do with your legs, with your feet and your pelvic area. So conditions may arise in the elimination area. That could be bladder or colon. It could be adrenal exhaustion, but also autoimmune issues like arthritis, sciatica. For men, prostate issues, and for people with eating disorders, that could also be an issue.
Sorry, Mafalda, sorry, I love your assistant there.
Yeah.
I want your assistant to examine my feet. Sorry for the interruption.
No, not at all. Feel free to ask any questions. We're all learning, including myself. Now, where I say tools to help you, you don't have to do all of these. Pick one or two that resonate with you. Take one or two that you think you can fit into your lifestyle. So you may like burning essential oils in a diffuser. So some grounding oils are cedarwood, clary sage or myrrh. If you like wearing crystals, red ones, of course, agate, bloodstone, smoky quartz, tiger's eye, they're all great for calming, for optimism, for grounding. Foods play an important role in our life. Marion, you mentioned foods, nutrition, actually. You said nutrition. Mm-hmm. So have a guess, everyone. We're looking at the heels depicted by the colour red. What sort of foods do you think we would need there? Anyone?
Tomatoes, red capsicums.
Yes, yes. Protein.
Root vegetables.
Vegetables, exactly. Raspberries, strawberries, apples. Now, if I mention some foods in my list and you know you have an allergy or, you know, they disagree with you, please don't eat them just because they're there. So choose the ones that agree with you and that you enjoy eating. Music is very grounding, and some of the recommendations are tribal or drum beats. But, you know, if you pick music that actually take you back to the days when you had a, you know, beautiful upbringing in a beautiful family environment. Does anyone do yoga? Linda? Well, I would recommend the meditation pose or the warrior two. But of course, if you're not used to doing yoga, then it would be good to do it under the guidance of somebody, a facilitator. So what are some activities that you can do to help yourself feel grounded? You can wear more red, or if you don't like wearing a lot of red, you could have a red scarf. The other option is to decorate your house with red furnishings. Decluttering is a beautiful way to go. But the other one that's very good, and I think most of you may have tried this, go barefoot on grass and dig your heels in and feel the connection with the earth. Feel the stability, and do that often, especially now that it's getting to warmer weather. You might like to try that. And affirmations, just simple ones that you might repeat throughout the day's activities. I am safe, or I am supported, or I have everything that I need in my life. Make them up, but you can Google them up. There are plenty to choose from. Are there any questions? So let's go to page 5, Jack, please. Great. As you can see, I've had to download these from the internet. They're pretty feet, aren't they? They're smooth, they're happy, they're callus free. Good on that person, whoever it might be. They might be pinkish, glowing with joy and happiness. And if we can for a moment, Jack, if we go to a couple of examples. So I'd like to bring in feet of the photos that we've been sent to. Anne Hockey, and yeah, we'll start with Anne Hockey.
Have a look here.
Yeah, take your time.
I think.
Yep, that's my feet.
Does somebody recognise their feet? That's right.
No.
Somebody else took that photo for you, Anne.
Yeah.
That was a struggle to get that photo. My partner took it and he just took so many different photos and just wasn't getting close. So yes, finally got that one from him.
I know it's not easy to take photos of feet, but thank you anyway, Anne. That's great. So look, there are signs of red in the heel, but also signs of some pinkish. Let's have a look at the left foot. And between the end of the ball of the foot and the heel, there is signs of pinkish in there, okay? So we're looking at the lower instep and the higher instep. So that looks as though there is an area of happiness in there, as there is in just underneath the base of the toes. You know, when we look at feet, we might see conflict with colours because we might have some more balanced areas and less balanced areas. And Linda Caldwell, let's have a look at your feet for a moment, please.
There we are.
Okay, there's quite a bit of pink there in the centre, in the insteps, but then it starts getting more red. So I'm not exactly reading features here. I just want to show you what first impressions, what colours, what features would hit me in the eye when we first look at feet. Now, if we could go to, Jack, please, page 6, please.
Okay. There we go.
Okay. How do these feet look to you? Anyone? Elizabeth? Sorry, I've got a cat here that's trying to be really mischievous.
Yeah, they look angry. They look quite sore.
Yes,
quite hot.
Quite hot and angry, blistered. Probably the feet of a sports person, but they're really in bad shape and they need a bit of nurturing. Jack, if we could go to Cassandra and Michelle.
Okay. You're certainly keeping me on my toes here.
Sorry.
Want to see your toes, Jack.
Here we go, Cassandra. Well, Cassandra had a few photos here.
Yes, they did come upside down. So, okay, what does everybody notice? Where are the red sections?
The ball of the foot and the heel.
Yes, exactly. So the heel, as I said before, that's connected to the foundation of your house or your life, whereas the ball of the feet are actually emotions, and that's connected to lungs and heart and chest in general. So we'll get back to that at some point. Now, Jack, please be patient with me. We're going back to page 7.
Yeah. There we go. Page 7. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, ta-da.
Yeah. So another thing I will look at is the size of the feet, and that will tell me the type of person that you are. So big feet might be the life of the party, the big bubbly personality, the vibrant person who seems to, I don't know, be a doer, a goer, that sort of person. But then you might see small feet, and there's nothing wrong with small feet. That person might be a little bit shy, but actually might be a quiet achiever. Now, is Elise there?
Yeah.
No. How are your feet, Elise? Are they? I thought they were rather large, and I don't know if that's the way the feet were. If we could go to Elise's feet, please, Jack.
They might just look big in the photo.
Maybe it's a photo, I don't know. But anyway, they did resemble a bit to the illustrations that I've got.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't read the names. Oh,
That's all right. That's
is
okay.
it?
Yeah.
It's a really
So that's fairly large. I don't know what size shoe do you wear?
probably an 8.5 or a 9.
Okay, so yeah, they're quite large in comparison to some ballerina feet that I sometimes see. Thank you, Melissa, for your feet. Then I would go to shape, which will tell me about your personality. So now, Jack, we are going to page 8, please.
Yeah. There we go.
Okay, so shape is all about personality. Some feet tend to be quite straight, and they're almost straight. You're a type of person who loves setting goals and boundaries. But on the other hand, narrow feet, what they tell me is that you like the finer, the delicate things in life. But on the other hand, you might be a little bit narrow-minded and you prefer to focus only at one thing at a time. And if we could go back to Elise and Anne Price, perhaps.
Oh, okay.
That's all right.
And then we had
Yes, so
Anne.
no, that's
Oh, Anne Price.
Anne Price, yeah.
I don't know if I don't know what I've done with that one.
Oh, all right.
Let me have a look. Sorry, I may have missed that in my
That's okay.
apologies, Anne.
Okay, well, let's just go to Elise then. Okay, so I don't know if it's the angle, but the left foot looks more narrow than the right one. So is that true, Elise? Or is it just the angle of the foot?
It could be the angle, because I think my right one looks quite flat there. But again,
okay, all right. Yeah.
Closely, so.
Yeah. Well, on the photo, it does look as though the left one is a bit more narrow than the right. And that's not unusual. Quite often people do have one foot narrower than the other. And it could be that the right one is more developed in all its senses than the left. Now, let's go to page 9, please. Thank you. So we saw that narrow feet can be a little bit narrow-minded, but you may like the finer things in life and you prefer only focusing on one thing at a time. Now we see a pair of the one on the right, the wide one. That is the foot that belongs to a person who is broad-minded, practical, and embracing of everything in life. And I saw 2 or 3 feet there that were quite wide, especially in that ball of the foot or metatarsal area. So, Marion.
Oh, yes, I've broad feet.
Broad feet. Could we see Marion's feet, please?
Oh. Now, let me just say, this morning I visited the podiatrist, so my feet actually look a bit better now than they did.
Well, can I just say something there? When I tell people I'd like to look at their feet, the immediate reaction is, oh, I've got to go to the podiatrist, get rid of calluses, corns, make your feet beautiful. No, that's not what I want. I want to see your feet in the worst possible condition.
Well, you've seen them.
That's exactly what's going to give me a picture, the story of your feet. So here we've got, I hope you can all see that. It's not upright, but that's a photo of quite a broad feet. So, Marion, would you say that you are, broad-minded person, you embrace life, but you're also very practical? Is that true of you?
Yeah. With all of that, I'm an over-optimist. So, yeah, but I think that comes with embracing life.
Linda, let's go to Linda Cornwell now.
There we go.
Thank you, Jack. It's probably the angle there, but certainly the balls of your feet look wider. So whether you've got a big heart, you're generous, lots of love, compassion, and the heels are narrower. They're not too narrow, but although it's not in my notes, sometimes I see feet that are quite wide in the ball of the foot area, but the heel is quite narrow. And that indicates that your foundation is a little bit rocky. It doesn't have enough strength, and there's not enough support to the rest of your life. So I thought I'd throw that in because I haven't had any photos of that description, but it's good to know.
Mafalda, could your feet be influenced by which side is dominant? Because
yes,
like I find my feet are different sizes and my thighs are different sizes because I have very dominant sides.
Exactly. You put more pressure on one foot than the other, and so you're actually pounding more on one side. You're putting all your strength and weight, and quite often the foot that actually pounds the ground more is the one that's going to be more calloused, or the skin might be, irritated and angry and red, whereas your other foot is just your helping foot. Now, let's go to page 9, please. Back to page 9.
Page 9, yep.
Yes, no hurry. None of you have presented feet with webbed toes. They're not that common, but I have seen a few. And it's usually the toes, the second and third toes for some reason. And that means that the energies of those 2 toes are actually working together. So some people would think it's a bit of a disadvantage. You can't really flex them as much as when they're more separated. But in actual fact, that means that your second and third toes are actually working together. Now, page 10, please. Okay, baby feet, aren't they beautiful?
Gorgeous.
I don't know if everybody knows this, but you might see that these little baby feet have got a few little lines. And you might ask yourselves why, and some of you probably may know, but I believe that premature babies have more wrinkled feet. When I say wrinkled, lines through their little soles, but a full-term baby will have very smooth skin. So yeah, I've been asking myself why, and I'm not sure why it's taken me so long to find out. And next is reddish feet. So red, what's red the colour of? Passion, fire, anger, but also frustration and embarrassment. Is Michelle in our group? No? Anyway, we can have a look at her feet, seeing she sent them in.
She's in here somewhere, I think. Yeah.
That's all right. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, Michelle's definitely there. Yeah.
Hello.
She's getting nervous now.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, that's great. Was there a lot of light there, or anyway?
Yeah, it's probably too dark, the room.
Yeah, the feet look red right through.
Oh.
But there's something else I'd like to add into the foot reading, the way that I do it, and is that it's, you know, sometimes not enough to look at colour or features or lines or calluses. You do have to know a little bit more of the history of the client, because that'll give you a truer picture. And to me, they don't look like angry feet. They do look, the skin looks quite smooth. Your toes are nice and straight, because when the toes are bent, your little pinkies are slightly bent, but when they're bent completely, it means that you're holding back in life. But just looking at your feet, to me, they depict a source of frustration. Am I right? Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yep.
Yeah. That's the closest explanation that I could give to that. Jack, if we could go to Cassandra now, please.
Is Michelle living in Melbourne?
Yes.
Yes. Well, I think we're all frustrated, aren't we?
Okay, I think we've seen Cassandra's feet before, but I just want to show you a little bit more about that redness. So we set the heel and the ball of the foot, but also the tops and part of the big toe. And I'll explain toes in a moment. And there's a little bit of red on the lateral side between the heel and the ball of the foot. That area actually encompasses part of the digestive system as well, and the liver. Is that your left foot or your right? Your left.
Right.
Right.
It's like the right foot. Yeah.
Yes, I can't tell from this angle. Okay, so yes, that would depict, then the spleen area, but also part of the digestive area. Now, page 11, please.
Yeah. Now, Mafalda, we got 15 minutes, so I just thinking through what are the things you specifically really want to cover, just to, help manage your time. I just thought I'd read.
Yes, no, I am looking at time.
Okay.
Perhaps if I just, instead of going backwards and forwards to people's feet, we've seen feet now and I've described a little bit of them. Perhaps if we go through the rest of the features that I see and a little bit about the toes. So we're just going to flick through the next few features. So when the feet are very white, they mean that they are drained or tired. And if you recall Marian's feet, the broad feet, they were very white, and I would say a little bit on the drained side as far as energy is concerned. Next page, please. Yellowish. Believe it or not, we do see yellow hues in the feet, and that could mean that you're cheesed off or annoyed with something or someone. And we won't go back to Elisa's feet, but they had a little bit of yellowish in there. Some of the other things that help me along the way when reading feet is the temperature of the foot or the feet. Now, if your feet are always very hot, you may have a deep passion for what you're doing, but also don't forget heat is also anger. Warmth denotes generosity and a temperate nature, whereas cold, you're more on the cold personality and perhaps at the moment lacking enthusiasm. Page 13. Okay, none of you have presented feet like that, but I have seen a few feet like that. We call it a skin condition reacting to something in your life, like peeling skin. And it's like a snake shedding its skin. It's the release of the old and possibly the start of a new life. Page 14, corns and calluses. What happens is with corns and calluses develop because that area needs extra protection. Like pounding your feet on the ground all the time, you find that your skin becomes harder and harder. And we saw a couple of feet there with corns and calluses. And that corn and callus will tell me a story depending on where it's placed. For instance, in the photo, that big one on the right of the page is actually right on the heart area. So that could mean sorrow, grief, or some emotional issues. Page 15, please. Okay, I don't often see feet like this, but if they're shiny or sweaty, you could be nervous or there could be fear in your life. But also you might have a Teflon personality, and that means that everything in life or anything anyone says just slides off your feet, off your body. But what I like about this pair of feet is the spacing between each toe. When the feet are all cramped together, it means that you're decluttered, you can't think clearly, you're out of focus. Whereas when they're spaced beautifully, it means you have a clear mind, you can think clearly, you can make clear decisions. Page 16, please. Okay, the wrinkles, of course, are the worry lines. And lines can mean emotions. And I saw, I think it was in, could have been in Elisa's or Anne's feet, I saw some very deep lines. Lines depict emotions, and the location of the line will tell me what sort of emotion we're dealing with. The cracks on the heels are actually issues you're dealing with before you can actually move on and make decisions in your life. It could also mean that there is a split or some shakiness in your foundation, where it could be your life or the household you're living in. Okay, page 17. So here we've got some bunions. And we saw an example of those earlier on. So bunions mean self-restraint or putting up with things for a long time, even though it's, you know, hurting your personal feelings, but you don't say anything in order to keep peace. And the hallux has been known to be called the peacekeeper toe. Tense feet. Those feet actually tell me that you can't let go of things. You're actually hanging on to things and you can't let go, whatever it is, problems or issues in life. Next page. So, if you've got high arches, you're an independent type of person. But if you're flat arched or your arches have fallen, what do we need? We need support. In some cases, orthotics, but quite often emotionally, you might be dependent on someone or something. You might also show signs of being very, very, very clingy.
Mafalda, can I just ask, what if one foot has got a lower arch than the other?
That would mean it would depend on which foot it is. Now, I'll just briefly say that the right foot refers to a male figure, work, or the past, whereas the left foot is related to a female figure, something in the present, and a domestic issue. So once we look at that, then I can tell you more. Okay? I do apologise, but what I'm presenting today is just a drop in the ocean. Anyway, next pair of feet, page 20. Oh, sorry. Did I talk about page 19? No, sorry, Jack. Flexible feet or flexible toes means that you are adaptable despite the roller coaster. You soldier on, you're very flexible and adaptable. Now, with the next lot of feet, page 20. Tense feet could mean that you're very nervous, can't let go of things, but also it could also mean that you're precise, you're strict, but at the same time, you're finding it very hard to relax. If I may, I'll just explain what the toes mean and then perhaps have a few questions. We're not going to go through everything I would have liked to, but I would like to say that I wouldn't mind carrying this further into the future if everybody is agreeable. Now, the toes. The toes are your antennae. Your toes actually pick up emotions, feelings, thoughts, and ideas. So each toe represents an action, a thought, a perception. The hallux, your big toe, that is your thinking toe. And in reflexology, when I do a reflexology treatment, that's where I would work to activate the brain or to actually calm it down if your brain is too chattery or decluttered. The second toe is your feeling toe. The third toe is your doing toe. The fourth is all about communication. And the pinkies are all about family, growth, and mobility. So development in your life. And when I see the second toe, much longer than the other, that is showing that you're a person of leadership. Or if it's just slightly taller or longer than the rest, there's definite signs of leadership there, or you want to be in the limelight. How much time have I got, Jack?
We have about 6 minutes.
Okay.
So maybe questions would be good to wrap up. Yeah.
It takes quite a long time to learn all about this. The course that I did was 16 hours, but it's not only the 16 hours of training, it's also doing a lot of research, and I've enjoyed it very much. But as I said before, I think I was too ambitious to cram it all into 1 hour. So I think we'll just rest there. Are there any questions? So maybe if we can regroup.
How does reflexology and Chinese meridians work together?
Well, as you know, traditional Chinese medicine also works on energy pathways, but they work on, their energy centers are called meridians. They've got a very complex way of doing things, and I haven't explored that area simply because there is a lot to do with reflexology anyway. But you could marry the two therapies together. And it would be fun to get a traditional Chinese medicine person working with a reflexologist and see, you know, whether everything meets up. But the ancient Chinese cultures used to do foot reading through following the meridians, the energy pathways in the feet, in order to be able to depict a person's not only health but also personality. Thanks for the question. Any other questions?
Got another one. Excuse me. The hand is also the same as the foot in reflexology, correct?
Correct.
So that means if we have a sore spot and just work that spot, it should be helping us?
Yes, it will help. Bear in mind, though, that the feet are far more sensitive than your hands. Your hands are, well, they deal with everything in life. Work, you know, washing the dishes, doing the laundry. I find that hands can withstand hot water, heat, much more than the feet. You put your feet in very hot water, and the first thing, you know, what do? You lift them out of the bowl of hot water. So although the hands are very good to work on, I find that they are an added therapy to the feet. Working on the feet, I find, is much more profound. But working together, that brings a more balanced and synergistic approach. Any other questions?
So if we came in to see you, Mafalda,
Yes.
for a feet reading, how long would that take? Like, is it an hour or?
How long is a piece of string?
Yeah.
Depends on the foot. When I was looking at one pair of feet and I started writing notes, I realized I was writing an encyclopedia. And I thought, if I ever see these feet in my clinic room, I'd probably take a good hour. There are some feet that don't take as long, and you might ask me why. Some people are very good at holding their cards very close to their chest. And when I look at their feet, I see blankness. Now, that's not because there's nothing to say or to pick on. It's just because you are holding all your secrets so closely that I've got to go through layer by layer and ask you a lot of questions and get a lot of feedback from you to actually be able to build up a profile from there. Whereas some feet are just more, you know, quicker to tell me, you know, where you are at life, how you are feeling.
Yeah. And intuitively, that you'd be able to pick up on things like you do already with your reflexology.
Yeah, well, the other thing too, look, as you know, no treatment is ever the same. Sometimes there might be more emphasis on the emotional side of things. And while giving a reflexology session, you know, the natural thing might be to go into some foot reading. But there might be people who don't like their feet being massaged. There are quite a few people like that. They're ticklish or they find it too painful.
Sorry, I just got a workman on my roof, so I'm just going to move so the noise doesn't interrupt. Sorry.
So you may just feel like having a foot reading session and
excuse me.
All happening.
Any other questions?
I know it's Anne, and Roy's in a meeting at the moment. I'm going to get him to ring you, or can you give him a call back?
Mafalda, when are you opening up to appointments?
Ask Jack, please.
I think we have to ask Dan understand that
Right.
question.
Uncle Dan's got the answer.
That's right. It seems like sometime, you know, in November is a possibility, depending on, you know, what the numbers look like, obviously, but it won't be really earlier than early November, probably late November, the way things are going.
Okay, thanks very much.
I feared that. I feared it.
I know, it's just a bit of a, yeah, it's not ideal for everybody, but
We can't do anything about it.
no.
Just, I was looking forward to my gardener coming next week and things like that, and I think, oh, anyway, you know.
Yeah,
It's
that's
all
right.
world problems.
Are there any questions before we wrap up for the day?
So look, I had a question for everybody, because I know a lot of people sent in their feet and we kind of touched on them, you know, quickly in different examples. Would you like to come back together with Mafalda, perhaps just, you know, focusing on each individually just for a few minutes and just, you know, doing a bit more detail and then applying all that knowledge that she's got, but just kind of, because I realise you've all, you know, sent in photos, and it might be a really nice thing to do. Just to, you won't get a full, you know, session necessarily, as if you met with Mafalda, but it might just, you know, if you want to do that again, or come together.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay. Look, I'll find a time in the diary and I'll send out a note. We might try and keep it similar time, because that potentially might work for everybody in a week or two.
Yeah,
Thank
I'm
you.
happy to do that, perhaps 10 minutes on each person.
Yeah.
And I'd like to talk a little bit more about the energy centres. So I'll work out a plan, but definitely
Yeah.
there's too much.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
Well, thank you, Mafalda, for organising this, and Jack. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.